Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to discuss episode 17 of season 4 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology, entitled Mandatory Brunch Meeting. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace
And explore Gotham.
That's right, Dragon. That's right. We're a little behind this week, folks. I apologize for that. We're going to try and get the last one out a little bit quicker this week, hopefully. But in the meantime, we're talking about mandatory brunch meeting, and this is a big episode for Gotham because this is now Dragon, of course, kind of to set the stage. You have seen this past week's episode of Gotham, which I assume expands on the storyline of the Jerome twin brother thing. Like, is the twin brother going to become the actual Joker or not? I don't know. So I'm a little bit in the dark on this, folks. But having said that, Dragon, I have to say I really, really dug this episode. I think stylistically this might be one of the best of the season. And it really kind of comes together in terms of like how far we've come on the show to have all these different villains working together and have it be crazy and yet make sense all at the same time. But speaking of villains coming together and cool crossovers and all that, Dragon, boy, do we have a fan series for you. Dragon, what fan series needs just 20,000 more views in order to get another episode on YouTube?
Why, Tiki, I'm glad you asked. It's a name brand all over the world. It's Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world, a product of everyone's favorite Just Giggle. It's a YouTube channel. These guys know comedy. They know comedy. And they also know good fan service, good parody. They know these guys know how to make a video, know how to make a web series. They trust me, folks. The Joker has never been in better hands than he's been in with Just Giggle. These guys know what they're doing. We can't say enough nice things about them, but folks, they need your help. They need those 20,000 views so we can get more excellent episodes of Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. Is definitely going to date this thing because hopefully we've succeeded. That's why. So hopefully prove it, make this thing dated, folks. Make it a semblance of victory, folks. Do that for us. So here's what we want you to do. Very simply, make it very simple. Go watch the whole series first and foremost. But what you really need you to do, even if you just want to like check it out, then watch the whole series. Check out episode 5. That's the one. Harley Quinn, the Joker versus the real world. Episode 5, the robbery. Honestly, I'm not just saying this to bolster the episode. I think it might be my favorite. Because rewatching it, it's really good. And
I think it's definitely. I don't think it's the funniest episode, but I definitely think it's the most artistically ambitious episode.
I think it's the best. I think it's if not funny in regards to the gags, it's definitely funniest in like plot and conception. I think it's like the smartest written out of all. I don't know. It's like it feels very true. The Joker feels funny. It just definitely feels like we're anyways, the point is, folks, is we can say a lot of nice things about it. We actually did it already. But again, first and foremost, watch that video. Watch the series. And then if you really like that show, you want to hear people really gush over it, then watch our podcast talking about Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. But again, first and foremost, there'll be a link in the video. Check it out. Help those guys out. They're A-OK guys. They know comedy. They're the best of the best of the best, to quote Men in Black. So let's talk about this version of let's talk about Jerome instead of the Joker for a change. Let's talk about this episode. All right. So we start this episode picking up where we left off with Bruce. Bruce, he had the St. Ignatius address, so we pick up with that. So Bruce arrives at St. Ignatius, and he questions the headmaster. And honestly, this whole opening scene, this is great. And I love how David Mazouz were really capturing that. He's so Batman now. He feels more Batman than he's ever been before. Because this feels like pulled right out of the Arkham games. Like, I know he's not in the suit, but my God, he feels like he's playing the Arkham games right now. It's like
I think we're going to be talking a lot about this in this podcast in particular, but I'm strongly considering season 4 to be the best season overall, and I think Mizzou's transformation is a big part of that because I really think that they've sold us on him becoming Batman way more than they have in the past 3 seasons, just in this one kind of character arc that he has in this season in particular.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you. I've been thinking about it too. While we've kind of had time to stew over the episodes, and yeah, he's this season does quite. I'm super excited about the latter half of this season. No, the first half was good, and I'm just saying the second half that was blowing me out of the water. I'm thinking it might be the best one out of the lot so far.
Because I feel like all 3 of the last seasons have had major flaws in them because season one had those episodes that didn't really go anywhere. Season one was definitely had more of a procedural vibe to it. Season two, I would say at this point, has been the best out of the three, but it still kind of had the Galavan stuff was kind of ridiculous and over the top, and it kind of got dragged out a little bit there. I would say season three was probably the weakest of the seasons we've got, just because of how just through the mud they drug the Lee storyline and just how painful that was. I mean, I still have scars from season three.
Look, I don't know. Look, aside from the Lee stuff was terrible. I still really like season three though. Again, three did Court of Owls. We did all that. The whole.
To me, I don't know. Even Court of Owls disappointed me because of how they just offed Catherine, and then the whole thing just kind of became irrelevant by the end of the season. I don't really think they did Court of Owls that good.
All right. Well, again, to me, the point. Okay, anyway. But yeah, season 4 is looking very promising. So we're now in a place where he's walking in. This feels like a cinematic from the Arkham game, where it's classically Batman enters a room and he's questioning someone in peril. Says what's going on, what's happening? Help me defeat the Joker. Essentially, that's kind of how that scene goes. And that's what we're doing here. So there's a great tension in the scene. It's very well shot. Again, Mizzou's he's so in the groove right now. Yeah, it's a very tense scene. We have that great reveal as we turn around. We reveal that the headmaster, he's been hypnotized by the Mad Hatter. And he has his suicide vest on, and basically he's been goaded into. And I love the ticking clock, quite literally. Basically the idea that the Mad Hatter, very much kind of Get Out style. The Mad Hatter, he basically ties the hypnosis into like a ticking clock or a thematic device of some kind, like so he identifies it to something, ties it to something in the room. Mm-hmm. Now, the ticking of the clock, locks this guy in hypnosis, and Bruce is trying to talk him down. He learns that. Jerome wanted information on one of the students that went here 10 years ago, Xander Wild. And then, of course, we have the bomb reveal, and he's bearing a message with this bomb. And essentially, again, they don't spell it out, but the idea is that Jerome, whoever is going to he's expecting cops, he's expecting Gordon and Bullock, but Bruce possibly. Regardless, whoever shows up, he wanted to slow him down with his bomb. That's the idea there. So he's going to blow the guy up and make sure he doesn't give anything away, but regardless, like, hey, slow him down with a bomb. And of course, Jim and Bullock arrive, and this is a classic scene of Batman and Jim Gordon teamwork here, where they're all arriving at the same place.
Batman, I also feel like it's a classic Gotham cold open. When Gotham does cold opens, they do them well, where it's like just a really crazy burst of action to get things started.
Yeah. Batman, Bruce is kind of reaching him, and then he points out the clock. He's been hypnotized, and Jim, again, having dealt with the Mad Hatter all through the season, he knows how to solve this. Shoot the clock. Shoots the clock. Unfortunately, the headmaster has a pocket watch, which is also ticking, which leads to a bloody mess, let's say.
God. Boom, again, with the explosions and the violence this season, they're not afraid to show the guts.
Oh, yeah. So, again, really, really bombastic, to say the least.
Yeah, and as we keep saying, Dragon, the key to a cold open is to just have that one standalone scene that just cuts the tone. I mean, nothing's going to be better than Breaking Bad outside of Better Call Saul because it's in the same universe. I think the the Vince Gilligan produced shows kind of are the gold standard for cold opens.
Yeah, but, the Albuquerque version
Gotham does it. They do them good.
Yeah. So when we come back from the cold open, we have a scene that kind of got one of my wishes this episode. I really want them to do kind of a Tom King thing where we basically blend kind of a few stories in this whole brunch, this mandatory brunch meeting we have here. So we're blending. I don't want to bore you with all the details, but there's an excellent Tom King story where it was basically what this season kind of. I guess. What last season kind of started to do with the whole Riddler Penguin thing, when they were going with war at each other. That was very inspired by a Tom King story that happened recently in the comics called The War of Jokes and Riddles, and that was basically the big tipping point of that story. Was there was a big dinner. It was like a big dinner scene. It was like a 5-course. I don't know, it was like a multi-course meal. It was like a really dignified dinner, like Joker and the Riddler sitting down at Wayne Manor to have a dinner party and like a civil conversation while holding everyone in the city hostage. Anyway, so it feels very kind of like it's a dinner meeting. It's a brunch meeting like that, and also it's kind of Death of the Family-esque with a Joker-esque character at a civil dinner table.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the biggest pull of all, and the main thing we're kind of stemming from here is the long Halloween of it all of our colorful villains in the same area, kind of having a meeting together, like the big ending image of Long Halloween, where they're all Harvey Dent's desk. Well, they're all Falcone, that big money shot, Tim Sale money shot. Anyway, so boys are doing a lot of cool stuff with the Flash for the Justice League Flash's worst nightmare, Brunch. Remember, he's terrified. I was rewatching Justice League. He's terrified of Brunch. Well, he hates Brunch. So Joker. Jerome. He he has. At this point with Jerome, where he's like in the Joker regalia, and this is really cool. Like I might slip here and there because again, he's wearing like the cool the vest and everything. I don't know. So
I got to admit, I don't know how next episode pans out, but I'm still not being sold on Jerome not being the Joker in this show.
No, we'll see.
We'll see.
So Jerome has the inmates. He has them set the table and serve the guests. All of them in costumes. It's a beautiful visual. I'm so thrilled with like the visual and the payoff of mandatory brunch meeting. I just love this idea. And again, stemming from all those stories, it was playing out there. So we have Mr. Freeze, we got Firefly, we got Scarecrow. Later on, we're gonna have the Mad Hatter, and we have the Penguin hosting them at his mansion.
Small nitpick. I'm not a fan of Penguin's hairdo this episode.
His hairdo's always changing, so it's just part of the course. He always.
I guess so. I guess that's a good point. I don't know. He seems a little over the top here.
I guess they just want to make it fit in.
So down at all. It's just it's kind of goofy.
They just got to give him a hat, Tiki. That's the solution to that problem. Give him a top hat. Come on.
Well, I'm still waiting for the Riddler to get his damn cane. I think this episode was a good way to do it, and they freaking missed the opportunity. But we'll get there.
And that actor wants this cane, darn it. He's begging for a cane. They won't give it to him. So the closest we ever got was that sword in that one episode. He got a sword once. Anyway, so the Legion of Horribles, as Jerome kind of dictates, like, my Legion of Horribles. Oh, that's good. Write that down. So yeah, he's looking very classic Joker. They were definitely building up kind of some Joker stuff with Jerome here in this whole. Yeah, we saw him in the white coat, but now we're seeing him like in the undersuit. So Jerome's basically called this little brunch meeting because he's on the cusp of turning Gotham into a madhouse, which is the plan. Basically, turn Gotham into a crazy Arkham City. It's kind of what his plan is. But he needs their help. Penguin's hosted the meeting. Everyone has a role at this table. I really like that. Penguin's hosting the meeting. Crane, he's preparing the thing. He's preparing this ominous, like, oh boy, what is the Scarecrow preparing? They need a lab. They need Mr. Freeze to procure a lab and kind of oversee the science of it all.
Makes sense.
And of course, when he's getting the Bridge, just like she's extra kind of crazy muscle. It's kind of why she's there. But of course, as she's like raising some questions, like, what do we get out of all this? One of the great lines of the episode: "Use the tongs, Carl." I just laugh so hard. Like, that's classic Joker right there. Use the tongs, Carl. And this is what we're doing with Jerome, which I find fascinating in this episode. I love how we're giving him a lot of beats here, and honestly, in the way he's dressed into, he's very 89-esque. He's very Nicholson-esque with this great line that he has. And it summarizes what Jerome's all about. It says, I'm just an artist I just want to paint the town crazy. That's such a good line. That summarizes exactly what he's trying to do.
There's like I recently rewatched 89 a couple months ago, Dragon, and
I remember.
It did strike me how different the Nicholson interpretation of the Joker is to the now iconic Heath Ledger version, because Heath Ledger is like a wild animal, whereas Nicholson, there's like a classiness to him. And I feel like with Cameron Monaghan, it's kind of like a nice blend of the two.
Monaghan, he's kind of, and again, he's doing his own thing by kind of blending here. Honestly, I think that's the point.
Monaghan is like the wild animal who's trying to be classy.
Exactly. And Monaghan, what he's doing beautifully with this, again, he's made the role his own, but what he's doing that is reflective of what kind of Jerome is kind of always meant to represent. Ever since the beginning, we've always kind of seen him as he's been labeled the proto-Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at it that way, what was so clever is that we kind of amalgamed with this one actor. We amalgamed all versions of the Joker. At least most versions of the Joker. For the most part, he's kind of a blend of the big three. He's mainly a blend of Nicholson, Hamill, and Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's like constantly reshuffled and shuffled, like what elements are being kind of brought to the forefront every time he comes around. Like he was more Hamill one time, and now he's more Nicholson this time. It's a wonderful. It's a Ledger executing a Nicholson performance. That's kind of what you have here. It's clever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. So oh yeah, so he says, you guys to do this. Basically, he's asking them, okay, you guys are going to help me do this. You help me do this, and I could care less how you horribles rip the city apart. And they're all in. They're all in to helping him out, so they can get like a piece of the city and do with it what they will. He just wants like we drive the city mad, go nuts with it. This plan disturbs the Penguin a little, which is definitely going to pay off. Mad Hatter arrives with the last piece, the last piece of the pie, the Xander Wild info. He has the information on where Xander is, and he's the key to everything.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's see. So then we have a really pointed Bruce in the gym scene, where Jim's upset. Bruce did not listen to Jim. Like, don't go there. Don't go to Saint Ignatius. I told you, it's the one thing I told you, we wouldn't do it. And he's chastising Alfred for knowing and not letting him go. So he kind of lays down the law, kind of like the whole like anti-vigilantism thing, where he's saying, okay, look, next time you guys are here, you're going to be charged. Okay, there will be charges, so don't show up again. So yeah, they're kind of button heads a little in this episode.
Yeah, nice classic foreshadowing to their dynamic going on.
So let's see.
Bullock gets the name of Xander Wild.
Yeah, he's now at he's now at a firm of some kind. It's Myers and
Hayes.
Yeah, Myers and Hayes. He's at Myers and Hayes now as an architect, essentially. And they probably need a builder or an architect of some kind. So again, pretty good logic there. So again, they're on their way to that building. Meanwhile, so they've been kind of beat to the punch by another kind of cheerful trickster, if you will. If we have this gang, this is in the promo. I love this.
I was kind of hoping that you dig this up as the thumbnail.
I almost did. I wanted to get the brunch in there. I could have gotten this, but I couldn't get him whistling. Though that's the thing. It was going to be him in the elevator, like leaving it. Never been him whistling in the elevator.
Oh God.
So you tell what happened.
He's in the elevator with a kindly old woman, and
who's scared out of her gourd, by the way.
And he's just, oh God, it's so silly. So silly. He's just like, he's trying to whistle along to the elevator music, but he can't do it. It's coming out very hollow, presumably because of the face being stitched back on.
The fact that he really doesn't have like true lips anymore, again, just like appearance of lips. But he can't move his lips anymore. It's just they're kind of there.
God.
I used to be a really good whistler,
I used to be a really good whistler.
For this.
I love how the old woman's just like,
This is kind of a little logic thing that's kind of occurred to me. What business does she have in this building? She's like a little old lady with like a lot of fur, like a big fur coat thing on. Like, what is she doing in this building? Is she starting a small business or something? What's going on here?
I don't know. She could be one of like the high up CEOs for all you know.
That's fair. Okay, this bit's great. I would have killed for this image too if I could have found it. Okay, so Jerome walks out, and this is like a very ledger thing, and I love to hear where he walks to the secretary and terrifies the secretary, and he's asking, "I'm here for Xander Wild," and no, and this is the bit that kills me. I love this shot. He has the sheet. I love essentially Riddler doesn't get a cane, but what we do with Jerome is he uses the shotgun like a cane. Oh. And I love it. It's like taking Ledger with the shotgun from the Dark Knight, but we're actually using it like a cane here. And so I love how he gestures with this shotgun. He says, "And no, I don't have an appointment." He's holding the shotgun like it's a cane behind his back or like a baseball bat or something. Right.
Don't bother going to security. They're all headless.
It's great. It's so gruesome in the way it sounds. That's just right. We don't need to see it. I just love the picture get painted in your mind that he blew their heads off with the shotgun. Okay, let's see. So, again, by the way, it's a nice place that he's out there. Meter and Hayes, nice. It's a nice building.
Yeah.
And of course, now we're in the. Oh, I love this. By the way, I love what we're doing with color with Jerome. More on that later, but we'll get into a little here later on with the big reveal. But I love with the proto Joker thing. He's wearing a white coat instead of purple. I think it's important. I love that we're not He's not all the way there yet, but he's getting there. Where he has it's a white coat, and it's a very important distinction. He's wearing all white, kind of like. And again, what I think we're kind of doing is sort of like a homaging like the Pale Man of Gotham Scott Snyder thing with that.
Right, right.
I was a little I could be reading into that by all means. Anyway, so Jerome does what Jokers do best. He crashes the meeting. It's Joker 101. You always crash a meeting. You always crash. Let's crash a meeting with a shotgun. Why not? I love he's messing with the models in the background too.
Yeah, I like how he walks in and he just starts staring at the models, like he doesn't even address the people at first.
And again, it's important because as we find out, he has a vendetta against the guy who made those models.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, his little proposition basically gets some information, or he's going to turn them all inside out, which is a horrifying threat. It's a very kind of Mark Hamill-esque threat, by the way. It's like, I'm going to turn you all inside out. Rip you inside out. Unless you tell me what I want to know. Something like that. So they learn that
he's never stepped foot in the office before.
Yeah, I'm not blind. Maybe you are. And then he does a ledger thing where he tips the glasses like turning the guy's head like Harvey Dent. Nope. It's kind of like that. Okay, let's see. So then he shoots a man.
Uses a proxy.
Yeah, after he shoots a man, he gets the proxy information. Let's see. I love this. I love the tie grab. He grabs the guy's tie, asking about the location of said proxy, and then of course, as that's going on, he's getting information. Jim and Bullock arrive to a lot of shotgun chaos as Jerome he descends, and it's like it's an old reunion. Jimbo, old buddy, old pal. This is great.
Cool. Which is classic Joker, to be jovial to see your nemesis.
Yeah, and again, gotta remember, Gordon does tie into Jerome's history. The whole he investigated his mother. Again, Gordon is he's deeply tied into Jerome, saying he is his enemy at this point.
Uh-huh.
Again, it's kind of the old Joker and Gordon always having that sordid past. Where like, hey, I paralyzed your daughter and I killed your wife in no man's land. All that's like, hey, remember good times, right? So of course, Bullock calls him Clown here, which is again we're definitely building stuff with Jerome. They call him Clown, get all these little Jokerisms kind of in there.
Mm-hmm.
Firefly provides cover so Jerome can escape. Knock knock. You're supposed to say who's there.
You're supposed to say who's there.
Yeah,
I got to admit, Dragon, this is again very small nitpick, but it was kind of a very abrupt cut to commercial.
Yeah, you're right. I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
All right, and then we just cut back and we don't even really address the aftermath of this at all.
Well, we're in the aftermath of this. In the next scene, they're at the same building, and remember that gives them the lead to the next scene, so they're in the aftermath.
No, but what I'm saying is that we don't really see any of the damage that Firefly did or anything like that. We see a couple cops standing around. That's about it.
I guess it's a point. Yeah, yeah, you're right because she still was. Well, I don't know. Anyway. So they get the proxy lead from the guys in the boardroom. They determine that Xander Wild he's the key to this big 44-hour plan that's been in progress since he left Arkham. So he must be a key to all this.
Uh-huh.
So and they assume there's got to be a personal motive why he's going after this guy specifically. Then they see a photo of Wayne Plaza with with the initials XW, which of course Xander Wild. Which means they're going to need Bruce Wayne and Bullock. I love that. I love how this is going there. That Bullock is kind of the guy on the outside commenting on the bond between Gordon and Bruce Wayne. Says, oh boy, the kid's that kid you're kind of mentoring. He's going to be thrilled to see you after that little tussle you had this morning.
Okay,
meanwhile,
here we go, Dragon. I love this scene, but I will say it is a disheartening missed opportunity to not give him the cane. This would have been the perfect opportunity.
The cane is a huge nitpick. It's about. I'm in full agreement with you about the cane. Okay, the cane should have been in this scene, but at the same time, that this scene is perfect though.
I mean, I feel like at this point they're just kind of toying with Corey Michael Smith.
I think you know what it might be. It might be they need something for the 5th season. We need to do something with them next season. So we'll give them the cane next season. That'll be the last. Give them a cane and maybe a green hat. Then that'll be it. Okay, so that's all we got left because we did everything else.
Dragon, I know you're not a big video game fan, but Nintendo has this habit of so everyone wants the NES Classic Edition, and it's the big hot ticket item for the holiday season. Yeah, we'll make 20,000 of them. We're not going to listen to the fans. Oh, you want Virtual Console on the Switch? Yeah, we're just not going to give it to you. I don't
Well,
know. It kind of feels like that a little bit.
anyway, speaking of games and video games alike, again with there's definitely Tiki. You called it definitely when we got into this season. There's definitely an Arkham game vibe to this season,
Mhm.
especially where it's very likely where we're going by the end of the season. And in regards to that, we're doing so much good Riddler stuff here. I'm just trying to figure out where to start here, just to make it kind of brief. Is that okay? So Riddler has a game show in the Narrows, and this is a glorious idea, and it's Riddler in full force, and this is kind of a blend of two things. It's
Dragon,
a blend.
hold on, really quick. You know what's funny is that the first shot that you get of the Riddler here is the back profile, right?
Mhm.
And he's leaning on the hourglass. And at first, the way he was leaning, it made it look like he had a cane.
You know what? I remember I was expecting a cane. Maybe that's why. I didn't really feel like
Go
why.
back there and tell me I'm crazy. Go back and rewatch the episode sometime. I swear to God, it has the illusion of a cane.
I'll see if there's an optical illusion of a cane there for it. It's like the sailboat from Mallrats. I'll look for it. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
anyway, so what we're doing with the Riddler is really cleverly we're blending kind of two things. So this is very much kind of a no man's land, or again to tie it into the video game of it all, an Arkham City idea where Riddler, uh, when we've divvied out sections of Gotham, in Arkham City, we've given every villain has like kind of a themed area, and the Riddler's is like well, definitely an Arkham Knight, but he also had this in the game where basically you have like you're kind of in the game show from Heck with the Riddler, and you kind of have to you're at the mercy of his puzzles and stuff. You have challenges to do for the Riddler, so it's kind of like a sectioned off area of our no man's land, mainly the Narrows, the worst part of Gotham. And what it's also a blend of, and this is the thing I really appreciate. And I mean, I can't prove that they're pulling from this Tiki, but I'm saying I'm hoping though for the Snyder of it all, for the Scott Snyder of it all. This is like the Riddler story they're borrowing from. Zero Year, Riddler was the big bad guy in Zero Year. And the whole crux of that story, Tiki, is that we get to a no man's land esque event, where like Gotham is overrun by the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying we're doing that this season. I'm just saying we're pulling the main idea from that, where Riddler has reign of Gotham, and he has this thing where basically Gotham is at his mercy, like basically identical to how Bane had control of Gotham in the Dark Knight Rises. That's essentially how Riddler has control of Gotham. And the only way to kind of stop the Riddler is Riddler has like this daily challenge to the people of Gotham. Whoever can stump me at a riddle, will save the day. And this is very much kind of like it's like Stump the Riddler challenge. And I love that we're doing that. It's so Zero Year, and it's so like we're getting to that kind of no man's land meets a 0 year kind of ending for the season. I'm so thrilled with that.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so it's riddle time, and we're at the Riddle Factor. It's a great name for it, and I love Corey Michael Smith. He's so good in this episode because he's playing it. I love all the little game. If you ever watch a game show, you see game show hosts doing exactly what he's doing all the time. He walks over and he's chatting up with Lars. And I love my favorite detail. I love how he leans on the podium because he leans on the podium exactly like a game show host does when they're kind of chatting, getting to know the guy before the game.
Right, right.
And it's so played
And
tongue in
Lars,
cheek.
I just love how he's just like, yeah, I've fallen on hard times, but I couldn't think of anywhere I'd rather be than with you, right here with you, Riddler.
I know. I just love it's like an old school, like it's like the old school earnestness of a game show. It's like it's great. So essentially, the game goes like this. Very simple. You win money, win a lot of cold hard cash. If you answer and ask, basically, if you answer a riddle and you ask a riddle to the Riddler, basically solve and stump the Riddler. If you win, you get the cash. If you solve and stump the Riddler, you win the cash. If you lose, you get the Wheel of Misfortune, which is the wheel of horrific things that are going to be done to you if you lose.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you haven't told the green sand in the hourglass runs out. I love it's the little touches, Teak. It's green sand, not regular sand. That's all you need.
It's all about the branding.
Yeah. So, so Lars gets the riddle wrong. It was a clever riddle too, but it was just basically the whole I am backwards. I am not, which the answer was ton, which is clever. I like that riddle.
Mm-hmm.
I think riddles are hard to write, and I think they've gotten better with the riddles as they've gone on in the show, like with anything. So we're getting good here. So they spin the wheel and it lands on, what does it land on, Tiki?
Oh shoot! Hold on. Oh, hold on. I know this. Just tell him I'm sorry.
So
My notes are kind of scrambled.
A rabid sack of rats.
Oh God, right, right.
So then, thank goodness, Leslie enters to shut the place down. She enters to shut the place down, but again, now the Narrows is run like a democracy, and as the Riddler, again, Riddler kind of gloating that, hey, you used to be friends with Ed, but I'm not Ed anymore, ha ha ha.
Mhm.
So basically, the people of the Narrows are on Nigma's side here, and then this leads to, and now, Tika, this is Leslie, I love Marina background. This is a Marina background I waited all of season 3 for. It's like, come on, why are you torturing me, Marina? Marina, I know you're capable of so much more. I've seen you in other things.
Again,
And
it kept it's stressing in season 3. It was purely the writing, I think.
again, not on her. I'm just, you're absolutely right. Yes, that's all in the writing that scenes. We know she's capable of so much more. And this is an example of it. I love the turn here. This is a classic. We're taking kind of Leslie Tompkins, like Leslie Tompkins traditionally, old woman, but like she's the old woman who lives in the Narrows or like the crime alley, who's seen it all. She sticks up for the little guy, and she's an old woman who you'd underestimate, but she's tough as nails, and she's the healer of the Narrows. She's the angel of mercy of the Narrows. And in this case, with she's, as we've seen established with Leslie Tompkins, she's not your average, like, she's not a damsel in distress by any stretch. She's not your typical, like, she's not a shrunken violet. She's, you challenge, it's like, okay, you think you got her over a barrel, think wrong. And this is like classic. This is Miranda Backer in every sense of the word, even like if you go by the Deadpool standards, where she's a take charge lady. You always get that from Miranda Baccarin's performance. She's a smart, capable woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like the Riddler, kind of threw something like, hey, your own rules, you're defeated. And then she just, like, in a moment, says, okay, then. She just walks up on stage and she challenges the Riddler very publicly. And basically, if I win, the real factory goes away. If you win, of course, there's something horrible happens to her with the Wheel of Misfortune. So yeah, so we set that up, and it's gonna take us to some very cool place. I'm super. This might be my favorite. Might be one of my favorite Lee episodes of the season.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. And I also like the fact that it's not a bottle episode, but it's sort of a bottle storyline where it all takes place over the course of like presumably like maybe the whole storyline takes place in real time over about 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I like that about it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So, Jerome is at the proxy Echo. Echo's our proxy, and I have theories about Echo, but I can't. Well, I could, but I just won't get into any Echo speculation. But the point is, we're at Echo's place. Echo being our proxy, Jerome's there, and she was expecting him. And I love this bit here. And this is a cool bit. I love like this magic trick that he does in front of us. So basically, he makes the knife appear, and that's cool. Hey, just Jerome has gotten better and better every time we use him. That's the thing. We're getting.
Figured I help myself to some ice cream. I'm kind of a chunky monkey man myself.
This year in our Joker-esque figures like Chunky Monkey. That's funny. So then he's asking about the cage. And so what's with the cage? Just figure out like a big dog or something. And she says, "That's how I'm going to transport you." And she knocks him out, and presumably is about to put him in the cage.
I like Jerome. It's like he's legitimately like, "Huh? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I tell you this, Tiki. Again, I don't know where we're going. I have theories where we're going with it, but I really like Echo. I really do, and I hope she comes back. I'll say that much. I hope we don't just like kind of sweep her under the rug. I hope we do something with her. Mm-hmm. So I liked her from this first appearance. Anyway, okay, let's see. So meanwhile, Jerome's been captured. Bum bum bum. Meanwhile, Penguin approaches his old buddy Butch that he cut his hand off. Hey, Butch, remember those good times where I chopped your hand off to infiltrate something and you got all brainwashed and tortured and stuff, but you fell in love, so points, buddy, right? Anyway, no, all seriousness, though. Penguin approaches Butch, who, of course, is Grundy now with his memories intact. So, again, Butch, he's Butch with superpowers now.
I love the design of street-level Grundy.
Yeah, it's Grundy with a hat.
It reminds me of when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles go out in public in the trench coats.
I love how simple it is, because, again, we did, like, the classic Solomon. Like, Solomon Grundy look is he's a big white zombie in a suit, usually a tattered suit, but, he's a giant Hulk-like zombie in a suit. And all we did here to differentiate that, and it's just a simple thing. Put a hat on him to show that it's Butch and not Grundy, and I think they communicated that really well. It's like, oh, yeah, he's Grundy, but he's Butch now, because he has the hat. That's the delineation. So Penguin shows up with a proposition, and the idea is, Butch has been in hiding in exile from Tabitha because it's like, how can she love a monster like me? I'm not the same Butch I was anymore. I don't know how to turn myself back. I like that Penguin likes the new Butch, and I kind of like the new Butch too.
Yeah, I got to admit, I was kind of worried when we first lost Butch and the Grundy thing, but I think they played it about as well as they can. I mean, we're dealing with a show that had, like, hasn't Barbara come back from the dead twice?
Well, no, it's
Correctly.
been no, it was once. She came back to life
Just the
once.
once. All right. Well, I mean, let's count this out. Like, we've had Barbara come back from the dead. Hasn't Lee come back from the dead once?
No, Lee has never. No, that is being silly. No, Lee never came back from the dead. Fish Mooney came back from the dead multiple times. That's the
Okay,
one.
that's what I'm thinking of. And then, of course, like, she never came back from the dead, but we have the ridiculous situation going on with Ivy and the
Yeah,
revolving door of actresses.
yeah.
They can't keep an actor around for Ivy longer than Channel Awesome can keep a contributor around. But
Whoa.
ouch. Anyways.
Anyway, wow. Anyway. With Grundy, so Penguin. So Penguin likes the new Butch, as do many of us, and he wants to bury the hatchet. He wants to work together like old times, which makes sense. It's a good proposition. Again, kind of interesting that it's kind of what Ed was doing with Grundy, and now we have the more intellectual version of that, where everyone's back to normal, and Penguin's just approaching his old kind of co-conspirator back in the day. And basically, the Penguin's coming at this in a classic Penguin way, the Penguin Joker dynamic, as it should be. And again, also, it's not purely Scott Snyder. I'm just saying. I remember you read the issue. It's too way back when, where there's always like a razor thin alliance between Penguin and Joker. Penguin does not trust the Joker because he really fears him at the end of the day. But at the same time, they do work together a lot. And essentially, he's either Jerome's plan goes belly up or he flames out as like his kind do. And I love that we've established that from the very first time Jerome appeared on the televisions of Gotham, where Penguin said that guy will never catch on, or just Penguin has so much disdain for for a trickster terrorist type character. It's like I have no respect for this kind of like anarchy and chaos. I want control. I want order.
Well, because as we've already established through the whole show, like Penguin is kind of like the old school mob mentality of Gotham.
Again, he's the perfect blend between freak and mobster. He's the perfect kind of blend of what you need in he's a representation of a Falcone. Again, Falcone was killed off because he was just kind of replaced in the new order of things, and Penguin came from the mob world, and he kind of was turned into a monster by the mob world. And I like that's kind of a nice correlation between Butch and Penguin. They've both been turned into monsters in one way or another. So these guys really would make the best sense, working together. And also, it just occurred to me. I'm surprised it just occurred to me here. It's another Arkham City pool because Penguin has Grundy in his basement in Arkham City, so they are working together kind of like they did in the Arkham game.
Right.
It's funny. So basically, Penguin's kind of come the age-old thing in Gotham is that now there is a power vacuum, and Jerome right now is holding all the cards, but the minute that goes, which is what Jerome's practically planning already, like, hey, we divvy up the territory. I don't care what you guys do. I'm not going to be here for the long run. Just he wants, there's going to be a power vacuum. Why don't we fill it? To know how guys like us. Butch isn't interested. Wants to have his old life back. And, as long as he's not having any of the Penguin, he threatens to pop his head off if he walks it like a flower. It's an old Frankenstein reference.
I love that analogy.
That's got to be a Frankenstein reference. The whole throwing flowers into the river. It's like, I'll pop your head off like a flower.
All right. Meanwhile, at Wayne Manor.
Anyway. So Bruce is annoyed with Jim, and he learns that his it's like, hey, do you want us involved or not involved? What's going on, Gordon?
Yeah, I love how this is kind of like the surrogate parent dealing with the teenage angst.
Yeah. So Bruce learns, and this is going to have an interesting payoff. Bruce learns that his father had dealings with Xander Wild. His father hired Xander and met with him personally, which means, okay, Thomas Wayne saw something. This is going to be an important detail. Thomas Wayne saw something in Xander Wild and his work and what his plans were for Gotham. So he saw something in him. And Alfred Hesley checks the records and he says, oh, yeah, Thomas Wayne met him alone, which is important because doing his own kind of meet and greets like that, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So So important. So the point is, he's important, and he's hiding from Jerome. That's what they ascertained from this meeting. And I love how we go from the name to mentioning Jerome's name to the transition of Jerome awakening in a cell on closed circuit television.
Yeah, and I love this shot of Jerome too. It's all hazy and kind of fuzzed out.
Man, I love this build up to Xander Wild here. We're okay, so we're all well, I mean, I love it's a great tense reveal. It's a tension filled reveal. We have like all these monitors and everything, like our guys in shadow for the reveal that's coming. And again, I thought it was really clever. Like, who the heck is this guy? Now, I had a theory, and I'll get into it real. Um, I love the shot from the promo where it's like Jerome making like the heart shape in his hand, saying, "Oh, Xander, I wouldn't kill you right off the bat. I love you." And again, so we have the mysterious Xander in the control room, which is great. We have the models in the background. Say, T, when I was going through this episode, here's what I was thinking. All right, I thought Xander Wild, because again, that name means nothing. Okay, it's a fake name they came up with for the show for obvious, what they're doing. I thought it was because I knew the name didn't match up, but I thought it was going to be a take on another a Scott Snyder character that ties into Gotham. It was the Architect, and that's a story way before the Court of Owls stuff. But it was a character that was all about the architecture and the old families of Gotham. You remember in season 2 with the whole Gallivant thing, we had that flashback to the old days of
sure.
That real grainy footage.
Uh-huh.
That's borrowing from that Scott Snyder story that the Architect's in, where basically it's about the old families of Gotham, the Wayne family, the Elliott family, all the old classic families of Gotham, and that's where the Architect comes from. And I figure with the architecture of this character, the whole background of this guy, it's like, all right, maybe it's the Architect. That'd be kind of cool.
Right.
It didn't turn out that way, but it's still interesting what we did with him. Anyway, so Jim and Bullock arrive at this very mysterious door. I love how creepy and Kubrickian this door is, by the way.
yeah.
It's in the woods. It's like this one, like you enter this place, and it's like, as we're going to find out, this place is all secluded for a reason. They're led in, and they're led through this maze by Echo.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that the place was built 6 years ago, and then we have there's two of them. We have the big reveal that Xander Wild is not a doppelganger, but a twin brother of Jerome's, where he looks again like an unscarred, like sane version of Jerome.
Cameron Monaghan and Cameron Monaghan.
So here's how they did this thing. Is there's Cameron Monaghan, the actor, and then there's Cameron Monaghan, the hand model / actor, who is Cameron Monaghan's brother in real life.
God.
No, I'm kidding, but I mean they did really good split screens on this. How they did this, man, it's like it's very seamless. We've just gotten now they can digitally erase the line real easily, but it was cool looking.
Oh yeah.
So we meet Jeremiah. Now, Tegan, when I heard that name, I got really excited because I saw what they're doing here, and again, they haven't done anything like proving this. I'm just saying where they're pulling the name from. I know at least they're pulling
obviously Jeremiah Arkham, of course.
So I love that, even if they're not doing like that 100%. I just love that we're kind of tying Joker into Arkham with a name like that, like Jeremiah Valeska. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode because now you've seen Phantasm, the whole Valestra thing makes more sense now, doesn't it?
Sure.
I'm saying it sounds like kind of Valestra, and that's maybe what they were maybe drawn from the beginning with Phantasm. Who knows? Anyway, so yes, we meet Jeremiah Valeska, who is Jerome's twin brother. So Tiki, tell me, what do you think of the whole twin thing?
We'll see where we go with it. I'm not over the moon about it just yet, just because I feel like it's a rather soap opera-ish plot development.
At first, I was thinking that, but I was kind of like, as the episode went on, I was becoming more and more sold on it. And by the end, I was like, I was for it. That's kind of how I went.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm not against it by any means, but I'm not sold on it either. So, like I said, I really should have watched the next episode to really give it a proper context for the discussion here, but I didn't have time. So,
well. Here's something really cool, though. Again, I mentioned the white suit jacket earlier with Jerome, and I love here that what we're doing is this suit is closer. We're getting closer and closer with Joker colors, and that he has a purple tie and like a maroon jacket, so we're getting closer. and we see, and I love this. I love the history here. So again, I love that. Here's the thing I'm most impressed by this episode. Teak. I'm most impressed that we really, I can't. We'll see how you feel about the next episode. But for me, I really like how we establish, like, we build a character in one episode with Jeremiah, and they kind of sell you on it, because the idea that he respects and trusts Jim Gordon because he solved his mother's murder, and he put Jerome away in the first episode from in that episode from the first season.
Right.
And right off the bat, they has like a bond with Gordon like that. Like, thank you for for solving my mother's murder. You gave me closure on that, and you helped stop a monster. And he trusts Gordon for that reason. And he claims, emphasis on claims. He claims that he was sent away from his troubled twin by his uncle, who we met earlier. Zach, his uncle Zach, who was the mother's brother, sent by his uncle. His uncle took him away so he wouldn't get hurt by his sadistic twin brother.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is to prevent Jerome from killing him. And this led to him being enrolled in Saint Ignatius, and of course becoming an architect. Being kind of probably adopted by a rich family architect, etc. etc. Point is, he lived a high life. So he had a feeling Jerome would come after him. That's why he has all these security measures in this labyrinthian place built underground. Of course, the labyrinthian quality of all of it, very Court of Owls-esque and very satisfying.
Oh yeah.
So, so basically, Jim's warning him that, okay, hey, Jerome's coming after you. And of course, I like that we, the audience, know something our guy doesn't. I love how fast Jim Gordon, being the human lie detector we've established since the first season, Jim sniffs a lie on this guy. He says, "Okay, you're not taking our warning."
It's like they know that something's off with him. They can't quite tell what, but they're not going to let that instinct go. Like, that's good cop work right there.
Yeah. So they put together I love that they put together the camera detail too. Like, the monitors are off, and why the monitors are off? If you have all these security cameras, and you're in the control room, why would they all be off? And of course, they reveal Jerome's there, and Jerome's like waving the camera. So let me weigh in a little bit more on where this idea might be coming from. So it's two things. There's a new idea that was done by Jeff Johns in the comics recently. It was this new idea. We still don't know where they're going with it, but it was this idea. They needed like a big reveal in the big Justice League story they're doing. So what they did is Batman was trying to figure out who the Joker really is. And instead, he learned that there were three Jokers, at least three Jokers, three people who took on the moniker of Joker, which would explain the different artists and looks over the years. That's why you had like a Brian Bolland Joker, you had like a Dick Sprang Joker, and you had like a whatever, like the Scott Snyder Joker. The Greg Capullo Joker is the artist. The point is, like, the idea of multiple Jokers is like a recent idea we've been doing with Joker, as well as something we're doing in this awesome story, which once we get through that Superman American Alien story, Tiki, I gotta turn you on to this story. It's probably one of the best Batman stories you're ever gonna read in your life. Called Batman White Knight, where essentially we do we see a sane version of Joker and an insane version of Joker. It's like we're doing both sides of the personality. But at its core, though, I still think we're doing that's all. Like, I'm giving Gotham points on that one if they're pulling from like recent comics and stuff. But I really think it is they love. They're sticking to that promise they made from the first season. That we're gonna have a proto Joker. We're doing a proto Joker that when fulfilled may or may not be, might be Jerome, could be Jerome, could be this guy. So again, I like that it's at the same time we still do all the Joker stuff we want, and again, there's room to grow. And again, they're seeing how well they can sell you on this guy. So again, we're sticking to that proto Joker idea regardless of what we're doing here. We're throwing for like a loop of like, hey, might be Cameron Monaghan after all. You never know.
I do like the twist that it's still Cameron Monaghan.
That's the thing. That's what I'm really appreciating about it. It's, in a way, Tiki, it seems to be they found a way to have their cake and eat it too. At least that's how they're treating it in this episode. Like, hey, we have our cake, we've eaten it too. We've given you a few kind of false Joker leads, and the idea of madness and everything in Gotham. So it's there. We got all
randomly brought back the stand-up comedian actor from the pilot episode, and it's like it was that guy all along.
Yeah. So again, I like how I'm liking, because of that factor, Tiki, because of that proto Joker promise seemingly being fulfilled here. I just love to have all their bases covered. I think it's what really saved Jeremiah, the whole twin brother reveal for him, because it's so silly, it's so Gotham, but at the same time it still is seated in some logic there. Anyway, it's like logic in the insanity. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's crazy, but at the same time, it makes some sort of sense.
All right.
All right, so let's go back to the Riddle Factory.
Yes, yes.
So we have Riddler going up against Lee, and I love that there's like this offhanded lines as well, because she apparently the doc here doesn't think we should be stapling live barracudas to people's faces. Basically, thinking stapling live barracuda to your face is not good for you. Crazy. So, also, I like how we do like the Riddler hench girl who's like, she's like flipping the hourglass. Like we kind of got again, T. We're doing everything with the Riddler. He has those hench girls in the comics. We're doing everything with him now.
Right, yeah.
Everything but the cane. So Riddler gives Lee a riddle. Lee smartly, I love it. She's written so well in this episode. She admits, "I'm stumped. You're the Riddler after all." And what she's doing is she's playing to the Riddler ego, and she's playing to the. She's playing to the classic cosmic joke of the Riddler, Tiki, and I thought this was brilliant. I love the Riddler writing in this episode so much because it's classic Riddler. That Riddler, in this case, we added a layer to it, but the classic gag with the Riddler is Riddler will always do himself in because he has to give clues. He's a pathological truth teller. He will give you the answers. Just the question if you can decipher them or not.
Exactly.
What we added here as a layer is Edward Nygma doesn't want the Enigma side of the person, not the Riddler ego, but the Edward Nygma side doesn't want to see Lee get hurt. So he's pushing the riddle clues out, so Lee can gather them, and Lee knows this, and that's so brilliant.
Yeah.
So, do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like you said, she's just kind of gathering intel from him. Sorry, my notes are kind of scattered on this. I took the notes a couple days ago.
But anyway, so he's chewing her out a little, and he's very much in denying, like, no, I'm not Edward Nygma. I'm not Edward Nygma. I wouldn't help you. And basically,
he gives it a moment to kind of like let him like kind of dig himself a hole before revealing how she played him.
Exactly. And basically, he gave her the clues in that little rant that he gave, and she answers the riddle. It's a promise, because you promised to fix it and you didn't do it. It's a promise. And I love. By the way, this thing. He's been doing this every time he asks for
the thumbs up, thumbs down thing.
Yeah. It's great. It's a great suggestion. It's very Frank Gorshin-esque. I love it. So now she has to stump the Riddler, which is a very daunting challenge.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Bullock's questioning, if the brother is nuttier than the other one, and I love, of course, got a bit of a foreshadow there with what we have later in this episode. Mm-hmm. And Jim, I love that Jim pleads with Jeremiah. He pleads, he very directly asks him, not to fight him on this. Give us Jerome. He says, look, I can actually keep him here. I can keep him prisoner. This is a very secure facility. And again, like, he's making his case.
I got to admit, that's a fair argument.
It is. And again, he has respect for Gordon, but at the same time, again, put him in Arkham, he's just going to escape, which is the classic of the Joker. He's always going to escape. It's what he does.
Like, Arkham is basically the Joker's home away from home that he can leave at any time.
It's his Batcave.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, he's pleading, he's pleading his case, and it's not really doing me favors. And as the conversation is kind of heating up, like, what do we do? And I love how offended he is by, like, I am not Jerome, and that's going to be an important detail. Mm-hmm. As they're kind of getting into it, they're interrupted by horribles. So the horribles, two in question, Mad Hatter and Scarecrow, they cut the power, and then we have, like, the red lighting. I love the red lighting. It's great.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah needs to save Echo. Echo, his proxy. She's in there, and he knows, again, because he built the thing. He knows the maze is in and out. He's the only way they can lead everyone to the exit. So they have to save Echo, get the heck out of there.
I love that detail that he designed the mazes as a kid as a way to kind of cope with the childhood trauma, and then he designs his house as a maze. I like that.
And again, kind of Court of Owls-esque. Yeah, I like that. Eventually, we did get that. We did get that labyrinth maze. We did get it.
Oh, for God's sakes, the labyrinth is kind of like a splattering of all kinds of different things. We never got it off the page 100%.
They kind of separated because here we have like the honestly goodness maze, like the labyrinth,
Right.
and the other we got the psychological stuff in the first one. Though.
Exactly.
They kind of split it in half in a way.
Like the recent trip with Bruce Wayne was kind of labyrinth-esque as well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so yeah, it's the thing we're doing. Like Bruce gets the psychological stuff, and we get like the physical stuff elsewhere. I don't know. I kind of like that. At least we got it, you know. All right, let's see. So Jeremiah is leading the way. He reveals that the maze is, and this is impressive. The maze is over 180 acres, and they hired a man once and took him 3 days to get out.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah. So let's see. So they find Echo, but Echo is. We have the sandwich line. Bulk has that great sandwich line. If I knew we were gonna go get lost in the maze, I would have brought a sandwich.
But Jim, it's lunch.
Yeah, Bullock needs that lunch.
Oh yeah, you know it.
So they find Echo, but Echo has been hypnotized by the Mad Hatter, and we see Echo is a very highly skilled fighter. And here's my theory. I'll lay it out here briefly. Again, we don't. She's not in the next episode, so it's still up in the air if we're going to see her again. If they're going to do anything with this. I hope she's Harley Quinn. Honestly.
Oh, I could see that.
And you'll notice again, I couldn't. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if it's all over her sweater or not, but at least she has a diamond on her sweater. That suggests Harley Quinn. The fact that she's blonde, she's very capable. She was wearing kind of like a reddish maroon jacket in the first scene with Jerome. I think she might be Harley Quinn. Once I like her, and I would hope that I could buy her she looks like a good proto Harley Quinn. I could buy it. What I'd love them to do is again without giving anything away, I'd like her to be like she infiltrates for all we know, maybe she infiltrates Arkham or something, and then she's dresses like a doctor at Arkham, which would give us the Dr. Quinzel look, maybe.
No, that's a good theory. I hadn't even thought of that, but it kind of lines up, yeah.
So again, Echo, she takes Jeremiah, and again, she's really is knocking the crap out of Jim and Bullock. Yeah, I love I love this in a fight scene. Again, after all the Marvel Netflix stuff, of course, we're very used to this. I love a good confined hallway fight. See, this is what we're missing. Here's what we need. We need the ultimate hallway fight is in a labyrinth.
Oh God!
Season 2 of Defenders, if we ever get it,
I feel like that's something they could have easily done in Iron Fist, given all the mystical stuff. But
we could have. Yeah, we got to have like that. There's this Marvel character called I think it's Arcade. Arcade, this Marvel character basically builds death traps in amusement parks and stuff. We got to have
cool. I like that premise for a villain.
Yeah, and he's in one of the games. Steve. He was in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game. It was fun.
Nice.
And what we should do is have like a murder maze. He always has like murder in front of whatever death trap he comes up with. It's like Murder World, or in this case, Murder Maze. And the Murder Maze should have like all the defenders in like corners of the maze in the middle of a hallway fight. We do it all in one shot, exploring the maze. Oh my God, it'd be astonishing. Anyway, confined maze fights aside, highly skilled fighter and such. Jim knocks Echo out for a moment. Jeremiah reaches the end of the. Just making sure I'm not. Oh yeah, here we go. So Jeremiah, he runs and he reaches the end. I love how we have and again Tiki. This is what I'm loving here. It's almost like Jessica Jones-esque here. I love the theme of purple. The purple color is the dangerous Joker color.
You're right.
As he leaves the end, the ending. It's all this purple neon sign, and of course Jerome shows up with company. He shows up with Crane, the Mad Hatter. They beat him there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's asking, like, how did you solve the maze?
Which is be the handsome one, right?
And this is like classic Joker writing, where Joker's so terrifying he can do the impossible. Or how did you figure out the maze? We may not look the same, but we still think the same.
Yeah, like he saw the mazes that his brother would draw, and he just studied them. And like decades later, that's still maintained memory. That's terrifying.
That is a Scott Snyder. I don't care what it is. That has to be a Scott Snyder book. That's like the whole the Joker sleeping under Gordon's bed. That type of scary.
God, right.
Remember that? You remember how horrifying that was?
Oh yes, I remember.
You really have to read Endgame one of these days. You got to read Endgame. That's the one. That's the follow up to that. It's the sequel to Death of the Family.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, let's see. So yes, Jerome. He's I think meanwhile, so you see these six his other horribles. Get Jimbo and his bearded sidekick, which is a great line. I've waited 15 years for this moment. And then we have a big kind of face-off between the brothers here where he says, Jerome, you were born bad. You blame me for everything that happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a big twist I really love, and I think this is fascinating. It makes me really excited for future episodes. Where he says, you made her... basically, the idea that Jeremiah was taken away, to protect himself from Jerome, but the question of why, because he said, he's going to put a cake knife he put a cake knife to my throat on my birthday. That was like the big, sign of, okay, we got to get this kid out of here. And here, it's intimated by Jerome that, hey, you made her think I was trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of like, like the Dark Knight, or like a Killing Joke idea, which of course we definitely have a big Killing Joke line in this episode.
Oh yeah.
The whole the idea of he's changing the details of the story every time he tells it. It's kind of Killing Joke, but it's also kind of Mad Love with the whole story about the abusive father constantly changing by one detail. So maybe it's not exactly how it happened, but you wanted to. And again, knowing how his brother thinks, you wanted to do this. We're definitely playing with the idea of the old twin theory that the twins have a similar thought. They have a psychic connection of some kind. We're definitely kind of exploring a little bit of that with this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So there's that question. I think what we're exploring with Jeremiah is it's the idea if the Joker's crazy or super sane. It's that classic story of is the Joker is he sane and we have to call him crazy because that's the only way we can sleep at night. Imagining that someone could do such horrible things could be sane would break us as a society. It's kind of that horrifying idea we're kind of exploring with maybe Jeremiah is the crazy one. Or
Right.
Worse than Jerome, maybe. You killed her mom. But and again, you and I theorized about this. She deserved it, didn't she? Again, the question of, well, yeah, she might have deserved it. And Jerome has a real vendetta Jerome has a real vendetta against Jeremiah because these stories, this persona he painted, again, while it might have been true, he still ruined the relationship with his mother, which pushed them further down the rabbit hole. So these guys keep ruining each other's lives. I guess it's true what they say. I think you want to give them the line.
Yeah, hold on. We could all go insane with just one bad day.
Yes. Oh, Tiki, I lost it with that line. We got it early because we know when there's an episode going to be called One Bad Day. We got it here. Yes. One bad day. In your case, one bad spray. Of course, a tease at kind of some big plans next episode. Well, definitely, basically the big plan we cement at the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Mad Hatter, oh my god, this is the funniest part of the episode. This might be, as much as I love the Jerome stuff, this might be my favorite part of the episodes. Out of context, I love it. So Mad Hatter
goes up to Bullock you will listen to me. Oh, hell no, you are not hypnotizing me again.
Then
he just goes charging out.
I love that he's screaming while this. This feels like something.
And then Mad Hatter and Scarecrow are just run away, run away.
This feels like something we would come up with in a pitch.
It does. It does.
We're Bullock just charging. And then the Gordon line here is just perfect. And I laugh so hard at this. Where Bullock just charges off and chases them off it's like they're school children. It's always the chibi version of Gordon and Bullock we always think of when we think of but Jim, it's like they're kids on playgrounds. And, no, you're not hypnotizing me again. And Jim coming in with the winning line of the episode. That's one way of doing it. Oh god! If I could just that and lunch might be my favorite Jim Bullock exchange of the whole.
I think I would sign off on those being the top two. I gotta say, at least the top two comedic exchanges.
Yeah, definitely comedic exchanges.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Jerome plans on. He tells his brother he plans on killing him. Of course, plans on killing him. But first, he's going to drive him mad, along with the rest of Gotham. So again, that's a good classic kind of Joker-esque plan. Drive him crazy, then kill him off. Mm-hmm. Classic. So then Jim and Bullock show up at the end of the maze. He takes takes sorry, all these the Jerome and Jeremiah things trip me up. I'm just trying to make sure I don't screw it up here. He takes Jerome crap. He takes Jeremiah hostage, and I love that Jim's smart enough to know. I love when we have good cop moments like this, where the cop's smart enough to realize, no, you're not going to shoot him. You need him alive. All this effort. Oh, he's right. Goodbye, brother. He kisses his brother goodbye, and he shoots up the place
Yeah,
and leaves.
because unlike Channel Awesome, he actually knows when he's wrong and he can admit it.
Whoa. Anyway, but again, I love that he leaves with that purple lighting. The purple lighting reminds me of the Daredevil lighting and the theme of Red and Daredevil. Tiki, it gets me so excited for what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
And he escapes in the woods again with all the Jack Nicholson he's laying on. This episode feels very Shining-esque.
Oh God, right.
All right. Meanwhile, Lee takes through Lee stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I love how this Lee stuff plays out. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see if I have the riddle word for word. I think I do. Hold on, give me 1 sec. Sorry.
She gives Nigma a riddle.
Okay. What 3 words are said too much, meant by few but wanted by all?
So what she's done here so cleverly is she's given him a riddle that his ego, the Riddler side of his ego, and it's so clever here because she's trying to lure Nigma out. She's trying to lure Edward Nigma out with this, very much like how Edward Nigma went away with like the announcement of like someone with Penguin calling him Riddler. It's kind of like a reverse version of that, where the Riddler's ego would never allow him to solve this riddle because he knows the answer very easily. He knows it. I love that it's the writing is so strong on this episode. If he says "I love you," it'll free Ed. At least he thinks it'll free Ed. So regardless, whether it's like he just doesn't want to risk freeing Ed or just his ego won't allow him to say that because he doesn't love her. Ed loved her. The Riddler, the time runs out and the Riddler loses, and he walks off in shame.
And like I said, I think the best part of this whole Riddler and Lee storyline is the fact that
Tig, I'm sorry, you're coming in a little craggly.
Really?
Wait.
Hello.
Yeah, you're coming a little craggly.
Okay. I'll be right back then.
I'll take him through. Well, I also just echo what Tig was saying too. Is that again the Riddler and Lee stuff has been really strong, and it is speaking to the Riddler Lee relationship is fascinating because again, like Ed has built up some genuine feelings for Lee. They've been in each other's lives for a long time now. That double date that Tiki and I always harken back to has always been kind of like he wanted what Jim had, and he kind of got what Jim had in a way. He kind of ruined the relationship. It's traversed itself in such a fascinating way. And now, of course, now we're just kind of with Riddler and Lee, and there's another sort of bond that says about before. More on that momentarily. So let's see. Penguin returns the Butch, and he returns the Butch with a cure, with a barrel from Slaughter Swamp. And hello?
Yeah.
Okay, you're good now. Talking about the Butch Penguin thing right now.
Okay, really quick, what I was going to say about the Riddler and Lee thing is I like that it's literally like a real-time thing that happens over the course of like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like that kind of form of storytelling within the grand context of the episode. Anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Penguin returns to Butch offering a cure. Of course, instantly he's trying to pop his head off as he frantically, this classic Penguin here is like always like, real quick, he's trying to save his own skin real the seat of his pants here. He presents a barrel from Slaughter Swamp saying, hey, we need... Sure, Tiki, we're getting really excited for this. He mentions Hugo Strange, played by the incomparable B.D. Wong.
Oh, yeah. I love me some B.D. Wong.
Yeah. So we need Hugo Strange. If we find him, we can use this barrel of what turned you into this and get a cure. You work with me, find him, we get a cure. Friend says, hey, all right, we'll work. Basically, okay, I'll work with you, but we are not friends. Okay, meanwhile, the big payoff to the Riddler Lee stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, Lee clever. I love how smart the writing is. I'm sorry, I keep saying the same thing. broken record with that. Lee, she spells out that they only wanted the money. They didn't want the game show. And she's questioning, why were you here? You could go anywhere right now. You know, we beat Sophia Falcone. You got your revenge on the Penguin. However you settled that thing. So why are you in the Narrows? You could be anywhere right now. And it's because deep down, as she's accusing of, deep down, Ed likes me. That's why you're here. And of course, the moment she says that, Riddler kind of holds her a knife point. And she's asking also in this scene, also kind of comes out with the knife to her throat for a moment. She needs the Riddler. Essentially, she needs the Riddler's help to rob some banks, presumably to kind of get an economy formed in the Narrows. That's my guess at what she's trying to do there. She's asking about bank, like how many banks has he robbed?
If you will.
Exactly.
Right.
And she, to get money flowing through the Narrows, it's a very poor community in the Narrows. Of course, the knife bit, and then this is a great moment here where she calls him out. And says, okay, well, just do it then. Why don't you kill me right now? And again, the Riddler can't kill her because the Edward Nygma side of her is, I think it's a twofold thing, T. I love this, and I think psychologically it's very interesting. I love that both personalities are falling in love with her. Think about it. Edward Nygma was kind of falling in love with her because, he liked her from the good old days. And he kind of wanted what Jim had, so he kind of has what Jim has with Lee. And
then, the Riddler is kind of falling in love with kind of like the Narrows crime lord that she's become.
Yes, and I think first and foremost what it is, and this is the idea we kind of see explored with Riddler, and I love this idea, is there's an intellectual seduction going on here. He loves that she outwitted him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Of course.
That's how you play the ego, and of course there's this moment of like a really well-earned kiss between these two, where he can't kill her. It's like that's a passion kind of. That's the intellectual seduction. You're playing a dangerous game. Again, the game show of it all. You're playing a dangerous game, and she knows. And it's like that's fascinating to me. That's great. I'm very excited to see where we're going with this. Okay, so. Jeremiah is taken to the GCPD. There's an initial shock, some initial shock value going on with Harper. Like, Captain, this is, he's a twin brother. Doesn't say it as nonchalantly, but, just says, this is a twin brother getting in protective custody. Okay, and again, a real nice moment where, Jeremiah, thanks Jim very, very nicely.
Yeah.
Again, basically, Jim's echoing his thoughts to Bullock here. What do you think about this plan that Jerome has cooked up? I already thought the world was mad. Anyway, so big ending to the episode. You want to take us through it? Hello? Kip. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry.
Sure, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, it's just, again, with my notes. Why don't you take us through the end? I'm sorry.
Sure, anyway, so the ending. So Jerome, I love this. He kills one of his henchmen just to kind of like to feel better. He kills him. I love the this. Can't remind the next job. I'm just thinking about this in a moment here. I love the unsureness in his face, where he's just genuinely feeling kind of frustrated. He killed him. He says, "Well, that didn't make me feel any better." It's like he's on a therapist couch or something.
That's like a Jack Nicholson moment right there.
Yeah. So then Jerome meets Grundy, and now we've completed. There's a cast photo of this. I showed Tiki. There's a cast photo of this. It's the short of them sitting around a table or a desk. This is the closest you're going to get to Long Halloween, like all of them together like this. Like now we've completed with Grundy, who was in the Long Halloween shot. So now it's Jerome meets Grundy, who's now part of the team. All the Long Halloween stuff. Ooh, it's complete. Jerome has brought a test subject, and we reveal what the Scarecrow's been working on. We tease what the big plan for the next episode is going to be. And this is a biggie, folks. And again, the color of purple is very important here. And I love this with the payoff. That Scarecrow blasts the test subject like a money manager or something, like a stockbroker or something. This poor schlub, who, by the way, just for the promo, looks remarkably too much like Edward Nygma, and that bugs me. He's wearing like a same hat.
I agree.
I saw the promo for this.
One villain in the show that's missing from this group, too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I was watching this promo, I was saying, okay, for like a split second when they had a split second shot because they didn't want to give it away in the promo. It's like it's someone with a hat starting to laugh like this. Like, oh my god, is that Riddler? So that's another gripe I have, but again, nothing really of substance. Because what we do here is we finally, after all these seasons, Tiki, we're getting to the end. We're doing this. laughing gas,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's purple laughing gas, and I love that that's like the Joker's color here. I love that purple is the Joker's color. Again, like the Daredevil effect. They get closer and closer to the end. That's the color that he's going to take on. That's it's like the Jim Gordon mustache for the Joker. When he wears purple, that's when we got in there. So we have this really scary, and I think they CG. I think they found a good balance on the CG on this. Where basically we do the. You got to remember, this is the first time since '89 we've done this. First time in over 30 years we've done this. I think, yeah, I think it's been 30 years by now. It's been over 25 years. You know what I mean? That
Uh-huh.
we've done like a Joker grin chemically like this, and my God, is it horrifying because basically we have the he begins laughing his head off, and in laughing we're doing the horrific thing too where like he's kind of bleeding from the sides of his mouth and his eyes and his legs, and again I want to make it clear he lives, by the way, so you know where we're going with this. He's not dead. He's going insane laughing with a frozen grin on his face. That's what's happening to this poor schlub right now. And Jerome, he's laughing. We're gonna need more of this stuff. That's the ending. Wow.
And of course, Dragon, my favorite moment from Mask of the Phantasm has to do with the laughing gas. So you can imagine my excitement seeing this.
I'm trying, for God's sake.
Oh no! It's you!
Oh,
Okay,
heart
so Dragon, since you've seen the next episode and I haven't, let's play a little guessing game, shall we?
all right.
Okay, well, I think the most obvious theory is that Jerome is going to drive Jeremiah mad, and Jeremiah is then, by proxy, going to become the new Joker.
Do you want me to do like warm, cold, or like yes, no?
Warm, cold.
All right. You're warm.
I'm warm. I'm warm. Okay, okay. Let's see. I'm gonna guess that somehow what Lee and Nigma are planning is going to collide with Jeremiah. Now I'm doing the Jeremiah Jerome thing with Jerome's plans. Like they're gonna somehow Riddler is gonna meet up with Jerome somehow.
So far cold.
Cold. Okay, one more guess. One more guess. Let's see. I'm going to guess that we're going to get some sort of big siege on the GCPD.
Mr. Freeze cold.
Mr. Freeze cold. Oh, wow. Okay. You see, I thought we'd get that big siege because just to get Jeremiah back, but all right. Okay, well, 1 out of 3.
Right.
Anyways, Dragon, final thoughts on your end.
Final thoughts. I really like this episode. I'll say this much: this episode and the next episode are like a good package deal. They really go well together, and even just as a standalone, as a first act, even just honestly as a standalone, I think it's a good episode. It's very well. It's very smartly written. It's selling you on a really absurd soap opera idea, and I bought into it. I really liked it. And again, look, I want to make clear, even when we were talking about it, I was reading in some stuff from the comics, but you take that away, that you still have like the proto-Joker idea, you still have a lot of stuff that is working for the material as presented. And again, Bruce is more Batman than he's ever been before. We're doing all this. It's a great episode summarizing where we're going this season. This is an episode that basically, I'd say kind of begins like the arc that we're going towards the end of the season with. And I mean, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's kind of the Gotham we've been waiting for. And speaking to why season 4 is going to probably be the best season out of the bunch so far. I mean, I was very happy with this episode. Very happy with this episode, and I'm still very in love with the direction we're going. So again, major props to the episode from a plotting perspective, and just from from an action sense, it felt like a Batman story, even though Batman was used very or Batman figure was used very sparingly in it. So it felt that's what I want in that show, in a Gotham show. I want to show very much like kind of the Gotham central mold of like we can have episodes or have chapters of our story where Batman is minimal to not even being there and still being invested. I think we did that in spades here.
Yeah, I definitely think this is one of the strongest of the season. I've got to admit, I'm not as sold on the twin brother stuff as you are, but obviously maybe that's because I haven't seen the second half of it. I got to admit, probably the best part of the episode for me was the Riddler stuff. I was so sold on the game show of it all. That was just really compelling stuff to me. But overall, it had a really fun vibe to it. I love the brunch scene. I love all the villains kind of coming together. It's definitely a highlight, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. All right, Dragon, take us away.
So remember, kids, no matter how dark and scary the world might seem right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
Well, that's one way to handle it.
Oh, hell no. You are not hypnotizing me again. Ah!